We know Reversal Energy is good, but do we know how good Jumpluff is? This card is a lot of fun to play with thanks to its fluffy barrage ability, allowing us to attack twice with this Jumpluff in one turn. That means we can use Spinning Attack for 60 twice, 1 energy for 120 damage, or we can attach this Rapid Strike Scroll of Swirls, and provided that we have Reversal Energy attached, we can use Matchless Maelstrom twice, dealing 30 damage to each of our opponent's Pokemon 2 times. Want to deal big damage? Why not use the Scroll of the Skies, which for 2 energy deals 10 damage, plus 50 more for every energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. And all of it searchable thanks to Rapid Strike Octillery and Rapid Strike Search. For the full Jumpluff deck list, it's on the screen, or you can check it out down in the description. Otherwise, let's play a game with it, see if we can't get this Jumpluff deck to work. A little bit of a shorter introduction to the deck today, but I think it's worth it because it means that we get more time to focus in on the game. We've got a Nest Ball here for a Hoppip, which is fantastic. Let's double check. We've got Skiploom and Jumpluff here, as well as both of our Luxray, which is very, very nice. Now we can set up our board, and one of the things that really makes this deck work is the fact that Skiploom has an ability Solar Evolution, which means that once the Skiploom is in play, if we attach an energy to it, we can evolve it straight into the Jumpluff as long as it's still in the deck. So I think that that is critically important to the deck working. If that didn't exist, then that would obviously mean that this deck would be slightly worse, but you know what? I think it's a lot of fun, and up against a deck like this, it looks like we're playing against Gardevoir, we might be able to pull off some big multi-prize turns. You may remember way back in the past, we played Jumpluff using that double spread attack. I can't even remember how long ago it was now, but lots of people liked it. We took 10 prizes in a turn with that deck, and I think we might be able to do something similar here. They've got 4 routes on their board, which is kind of awkward, to say the least, but we have Bibarel and Ultra Ball here. We've also got an Iono, so I like that. We can get rid of the Jumpluff with Drifting Dodge, which means that we could potentially avoid a little bit of damage. We're going to Ultra Ball for Octillery, and that's going to give us enough card search to hopefully find our way into a Jumpluff this turn. There's a Skiploom and an Escape Rope, which is super, super good, but no energy, which is a little bit disappointing. We can Level Ball here. Level Ball searches each of our pieces, by the way, for Jumpluff. We can Level Ball here and search out another Hoppip, and whilst we're in the deck, we can take a look and see... Actually, let's quickly check. Is there our Spiral Energy? There is. So Spiral Energy is a Rapid Strike card, which means that it's searchable thanks to Octillery, and this is really, really good. We can go now, grab that Spiral Energy out of the deck, and since we have Jumpluff in the deck, we will be able to use that Solar Evolution ability to find a Fluffy Barrage Jumpluff, and not only will we be able to get an attack off this turn, we'll also be able to get a prize, which is super, super good. We'll hit into a routes here. We only do 60 damage with Spinning Attack, but you know what? 60 damage times 2 is enough, and that's way too many Reversal Energy to have drawn into there off of Bibarel. That's very frustrating. Let's Spinning Attack. We hit the first 60 damage. Then we get asked, do we want to attack again? Yes, we do. Spinning Attack is the way to go. Take the knockout on that routes, and go down to 5 prize cards remaining. Grabbing out the Radiant Alakazam is actually super, super big for us. We want to be able to be flexible with the amount of damage that we can move around the board, because it is going to be difficult for our opponent to stop us moving damage with Radiant Alakazam, considering they have to add a whole bunch of extra damage every time they attack. So definitely a good card. Now our opponent is going very, very well here, getting a Gardevoir EX in play straight away, and then playing down a Mew. So maybe they'll be going for a retreat into Mew and then trying to do something like, I don't know, grabbing an Ultra Ball or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. It looks like we're just going to get an Iono here, so we're going to go down to 5 cards, but we don't mind. We have Octillery and we have Bibarel, so we have a ton of flexibility. The only card we're missing is the Hoppip's Evolution, which is... I've completely forgotten the name of Hoppip's Evolution. Skiploom, thank you. But we can search for that, right, with Octillery. That's why Octillery is so good in this deck. We can just search for whatever Pokemon we want. I'm a big fan of that. Now, let's see. Is our opponent going to get a knockout this turn? They absolutely can. They can get a knockout with that Gardevoir. If we were behind on prizes, there would potentially be a way for us to deal... I think if Gardevoir had 3 energy on it, we'd be able to deal 160 damage twice, which would be super strong if we got that other scroll, the other Rapid Strike scroll. But since we're not in front on... since we are in front on prizes, it means that next turn our opponent is going to be equal. We won't be able to use reversal energy, so we won't be able to get that scroll attack off. Similarly, Rapid Strike Scroll of Swirls will not be useful to us now, but we can put a ton of damage on this Gardevoir, and that's something that we definitely want to do. So, we'll wait until they use their Psychic Embrace ability to move all of their damage onto their Gardevoir. I love the fact that it takes that long. I think it's a great feature of Pokemon TCG Live that every action takes about a second longer than it ought to, whilst we wait for all things to sync up together. Let's go into Hoppip, and then this turn we are going to simply be... There's a reversal energy, there you go. We would have been able to do it if all things had been considered, but that's okay. We can grab Skiploom here. We're just going to very quickly check. We've got 3 more reversal energy left in the deck, so shuffling this one down to the bottom is not the end of the world. We also have the Jumpluff in deck, so the Solar Revolution will be able to get us that fluffy barrage Jumpluff here, and then we can probably just go straight for an Iono. We might Nest Ball first, to grab out the Radiant Alakazam if we wanted to, but I think this is perfectly fine. We can just Iono now, grab ourselves a nice hand of cards. Evolving into a Skiploom is very good. It means that we don't necessarily need to search for all the pieces that we were looking for. And now we can Super Rod as well, which I really like, before using our Industrious Incisors ability. Now, one of the other good things about this deck, obviously, spinning attack, we get to attack twice, but Jumpluff has free retreat. So if we wanted to here, we could Escape Rope and take a knockout on any of our opponent's Pokemon apart from that Lumineon V, but I actually want to keep their bench to a... I want to keep their bench chock-a-block full of Pokemon here, because them playing down a Manaphy is really bad for our strategy. It means that we need to find boss's orders to knock it out. It means we need to have Alakazam down, and then we only get a chance to do 30 damage to Pokemon on our opponent's bench, because we don't get to attack into it twice. So definitely a card that I want them to avoid playing down. Maybe they don't realize that I've got that spread potential. Maybe they just don't have access to Manaphy. We don't want to give it to them, is the key. So we do not want our opponent to play that card down. What we might choose to do, we might choose to try and set up a bunch of knockouts premeditatively. So we might choose to try and deal some damage into Gardevoir, maybe take a knockout on a couple of benched Pokemon if we want to. We might actually just go for the Scroll of Swirls this turn, because we probably can. If they're going to take a knockout, then we can get that scroll going now. And that probably is the best option for us, just because we're not necessarily sure that we're going to be able to attack again. If we do take a knockout, then that Manaphy can come down and can cause some problems. Also worth noting that you don't need to attack with the Jumpluff in this deck. You can actually attack with the Octillery with that Rapid Strike Scroll of Swirls, because it's technically a Rapid Strike Pokemon, and with Reversal Energy, since it's an evolved Pokemon, you can use it. So definitely worth having. Now, in our hand here with Luxray and Reversal Energy, we have that attack. We can use the Reversal Energy on the Skiploom, evolve into Jumpluff, and then search for the scroll. The question is, are we going to be able to take 1 knockout this turn, or 2? I'd love to take a KO on that Curlier, if I can. So, let's promote the Skiploom. It's correct anyway. Free retreat. Seems logical. Another Reversal Energy. Well, good grief, that's ridiculous. We're going to throw the Luxray down since we are in front... behind on prize cards. Then we need... I think we need to play the Reversal Energy first, because if we Reversal to Skiploom, we take the Jumpluff out of the deck, which means we don't need to worry about it. Then we can Rapid Strike search for the scroll, and then we need to draw some cards to try and get like a... to get a copy of Radiant Alakazam down. That would be the best way to go about this. So that's Rapid Strike search. Kind of awkward here that we don't have a copy of our attacking... we don't have a copy of Hoppip, which is a little bit disappointing. We could potentially get one. We could draw 2 cards. 3 cards with Korrina, so we might just use that. 2 Ultra Ball is incredible. let's Ultra Ball at least one of those. I think we got to get rid of, like, Reversal, right? I think we got to get rid of Reversal, and I kind of want to get rid of Ultra Ball. We might just get rid of Boss, to be honest, and just grab ourselves that Radiant Alakazam. That will guarantee that we get the knockout on the Curlier, so we definitely want that. And what I really want is I want a Hoppip. Now, we can get one with the Ultra Ball, but I don't want to discard these two energies, so we're going to wait. We're going to draw a couple of cards, and then I think discarding the Luxray and the Iono is fine. We can grab a Hoppip, and now I feel like we're in an okay position. So we're going to use Radiant Alakazam. The Painful Spoon's ability can move up to 2 damage counters from one of our opponent's Pokemon to another. We'll move 2 off of that Gardevoir, and now we can use Matchless Maelstrom, because we're behind, to deal 30 damage to every one of our opponent's Pokemon. Then with Fluffy Barrage, we get to do it again. So Matchless Maelstrom, that will knock out the Mew, and will knock out the Curlier, and that will take us down to 3 prize cards remaining, which I really, really like. There's that Scroll of Skies, so maybe if we fall behind again, we'll be able to take a knockout on a Pokemon with a bunch of energy on it. But right now, we're looking pretty good. Over the next couple of turns, we should be able to win the game. We'll see, of course, whether it works out that way, but our opponent now doesn't have a ton of good attackers. They're going to need to change into a fresh Pokemon here to try and get into an attack. And I think we're looking pretty good. The one thing that I don't like is we're a little bit clogged on this bench. There's 3 support Pokemon here, which is less than ideal. And next turn, that Luxray isn't attacking. So potentially a little bit of an error benching that Luxray. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. The Hoppip is obviously required. We can get into another Jumpluff next turn, provided, of course, that we don't draw into it. Finally getting a Manaphy. Our opponent gets the Manaphy down, so they're aware now of what our deck can do, and they've decided that they don't want us to do it, and now they're going to Iono those 2 energy cards to the bottom of the deck, which is a little frustrating, but I mean, we've been given a pretty solid hand here. We've got the Skiploom, which means that we can evolve straight away into that Jumpluff. We have a Nest Ball and a Korrina's Focus for 6, so we'll be able to shuffle the deck and then draw cards. We're going to be looking for an energy. If we find the energy, we can attack with the Jumpluff. If we don't, we're going to be in a bit of trouble, but that's okay. If we do fall behind, we have an opportunity to win the game. We can at least move damage around with Radiant Alakazam. So we'll see what happens. Our opponent now most likely going to just attack us with this Gardevoir, and that is what they do, taking a prize and going down to 3 remaining. Luckily for us, we have lots of single prize Pokemon and no real way for Gardevoir to take 2 prizes in a turn. So now we are away, and getting that Jumpluff in hand is kind of unfortunate. We can evolve into Skiploom. We can play the Nest Ball. We don't have the Jumpluff in deck now, so we kind of need to draw into, like, oh, this is kind of awkward. I think we're just going to Bibarel. We're going to draw cards. We've got an Artazon. We've got an Energy. But the Jumpluff is in hand. Oh, I was kind of hoping that we could draw into an Iono here. Now we're in a weird position. We don't really have anything else that we can do, but we can Echoing Horn that Mew back down so that our opponent doesn't have a lot to work with. It might be worth just retreating here into a Pokemon. Maybe the Luxray could be an option. We do need to Rapid Strike Search, though. Let's grab a card. Oh, God, there's just nothing to grab here. This is where the deck's going to fall apart. Hopefully, it all works out for us. I'm just going to retreat into the Luxray, and I'm going to move 20 damage onto the Gardevoir in the active. That way, we might be able to take a knockout next turn to get ourselves into a card. This is really uncomfortable. If they knock out this Skiploom, I don't think we can win. Or at least I don't think we can win in the next turn. So if they knock out the Luxray, then there is a world where we have victory, right? We use the Alakazam to move damage onto the Gardevoir and then gust up one of the 2 Pokemon V or EX on our opponent's bench and KO with Spinning Attack. So there is a world where it happens. It's kind of unlikely right now. We could theoretically attack with the Octillery this turn as well. We could send it forward and use the Reversal Energy to use Rapid Strike Scroll of the Skies. That would do more than enough damage to knock out the Gardevoir in the active, but it's definitely not the best way to go about it. So we'll wait and see. And Iono does give us a hand in the sense that it puts the Jumpluff back into the deck. So that is good. Boss's orders. Okay, so now the game is well and truly afoot. I think now we've just gone from having a really dud hand to a winning one. We do need to find the grass energy, but now if we find it, we will win the game. Because the grass energy will attach to the Skiploom, we will be able to evolve into the Jumpluff, the boss can bring out the Gardevoir or the Lumineon, and then the Radiant Alakazam will be able to finish off the Gardevoir and the active. So we definitely have a path to victory here. The question is going to be, can we draw into that energy? And if we can, I mean, we've got 2 turns to do it technically. If we find another copy of, what is it? I don't know what the word is. What's the word I'm looking for? If we find another copy of the Super Rod, then we'll be able to put another Skiploom line back in. But we've got a chance now. I'm going to throw the Alakazam into the active. We've got Escape Rope we want to thin out of our deck. So we will use that at some point. Okay, what's our best way to win here? Let's thin. We're going to use Rapid Strike, Octillery. We are just going to search out the Jumpluff, I think. Just remove it from the deck so that when we're drawing, we don't draw into that card. We do not want it. We also could theoretically take a prize first if we wanted to. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it, because we can always boss, and if we draw into the Rapid Strike energy... sorry, not the Rapid Strike energy, the... what's the word that I'm looking for? The reversal energy will be able to attack at least. I think we just go for it. I think we just boss out the Gardevoir and just hope we hit the cards. I think this is the best way to try and win this game. Now we can draw a few cards with this Bibarel. Industrious Incisors for 3. If we find an energy, we win the game. That is beautiful. It's the grass, which is exactly what we were looking for. We can move 20 damage off of that Lumineon, chuck it onto the Gardevoir on the bench. That takes a KO there. We go down to 2 prizes remaining, and with the grass energy in hand, we attach to the Jumpluff, and a simple spinning kick is going to take a KO on a Gardevoir. This deck has been a lot of fun. I will throw it out there for you. It's probably not going to win every single game you play, but the fact that you can do so many different things with a 1-prize deck is such a good time. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you like the deck, it's down in the description. Otherwise, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. I will see you all more. I got all the way to the end without stuffing up. I'll see you all for more. I'll see you again later for more from the Sableyes. The end of this video has been a disaster.